You want to look at the camera? No?
Kristen. Camera's that way.
Yes, he is sneaky.
All right.
I knew from the time I was a little girl that I wanted to be a doctor. I have always been a science nerd. I've always been fascinated with biology and medicine. I have so much sympathy for a sick animal. I have so much in my heart to give to them and their pet parents. So it was a good choice for me. This is Maximus Rex. We like to joke that Maximus Rex is half German Shepherd, half black bear. He's my buddy. You know, if you've ever had a German Shepherd, you'll know that once they pick their person, you are never alone. I don't think I've had a single meal, breath, step, gone to the bathroom, anything by myself since he came into my life. And it's been a really good anchor. You know, it's been a tough year, and so it's been nice to have somebody who's just there for me all the time, whether I want some privacy or not.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a farm in my house. Even though living in the city, my backyard was a farm. I had every animal you could think of, and any animal I saw injured, I would take care of. This is my best friend, Pickles. She's my lifeline. She's my best friend, and I don't know what I'd do without her, honestly.
I wanted to be a vet always. And it was just there. There was never any other question in my mind, and here I am. We've got Bug here. She's my 12-year-old little lady. When we got her when she was 6 weeks old, she was like this. And she was, you know, there was no gray, was there? No, there was not. There was no gray at all. She's even got little gray eyelashes right now. So the story behind Bug is I was working in private practice, and somebody brought in Bug at 6 weeks of age, and they had just purchased her off of Craigslist as a purebred dachshund, which clearly she is not. They decided that they had no interest in owning a dog like that, so said, do what you're going to do with her. We're not taking her with us, and we're not paying for the bill. And if that means her days are done, then her days are done. I welcomed them out of my practice, and Bug was relinquished to me to take care of and foster. And like most people out there, I'm a foster failure. 12 and a half years later, here she is. She's not a pity, and she is not a dachshund, and she's a whole bunch of stuff in between, and she's just great.
In my extended family, I have 3 veterinarians, an aunt and an uncle who own a cat and dog practice outside of Chicago, Illinois. And then I had another uncle who married into our family who also had another cat and dog practice. All my summer breaks, all my winter breaks, any holidays where we couldn't find a sitter were spent in the back of a hospital. So I learned at a young age kind of, you know, the inner workings of a veterinary hospital. I learned how to clean cages and to stock exam rooms. And so I think that early role modeling and that access to a veterinarian who looked like me and could answer my questions was really key in me becoming a veterinarian. This is our older boy. This is Marley. He's a 13-year-old chocolate lab mix that we adopted originally as a rescue from Portland, Oregon when we lived out there, and he's been with us ever since.
I initially got into the veterinary field as an introduction to medicine as a whole. I had always aspired to be either a paramedic or a registered nurse, but after starting a nursing program, I really decided animals were my passion and quickly pivoted and went with the animals instead, and don't regret it one bit. This handsome dog on my lap is Diego, who I have had for 8+ years. He's almost 13 years old. Diego is a deerhound and a greyhound mix. Big fan of the sighthound breeds. I got Diego from the 2008 recession. He was actually a foreclosure dog. Somebody left this big guy at their home, unable to take care of him, and I quickly adopted him. Diego is Diego is my everything at the moment. He is really my child. He is my partner in life, does all the fun things with me, keeps me company, keeps me happy, and definitely, although not registered as a therapy dog, is my therapy dog because he helps calm me down after a stressful day.
So my experience working at a GP practice when I first started working in the field with animals, it was great. You know, I was working with puppies and kittens, but then I started seeing dogs get sick.
I don't think working in medicine is really anything like the brochure for vet school.
I think about it a lot like a sponge, right? I go into a room and there's a puppy and a family member attached to them, and it's great. It's what you're thinking is going to happen. And then you've got a job to do. You get in the floor with the puppy and you bond with them, and you bond with the owner and you talk to them, and you hope that you're going to see them for the next 10 or 15 years as the dog goes through its life. And then you go on to the next room, and the next room may be the exact opposite. Let's say it's a 12-year-old golden retriever with lymphoma. So the mood changes, and it's an end-of-life discussion, and it might be the end of the dog's life right then and there. So you do similar things. You lay down on the floor, you make the pet as comfortable as you can, you snuggle with them because you've probably been seeing them for a very long time now, right? You cry with the owners, and you console them, and you do the best you can as a sponge to absorb their emotions, because everything's super heightened at that moment. And then you go into the next room, and now you're 5 minutes late for the next room. And the people say, well, you've thrown off my day. I'm late. And of course you keep it inside and you apologize and you do the best you can. And then you go into the next room, and the next room might be a dog-like bug that's eaten something goofy and is vomiting, and you need to figure it out. And then you go into the next room, and the person says to you, a bullet would be cheaper. I could get a new dog for less. And you're absorbing this. And at the end of the day, your sponge is full, right? You can't absorb anything else. You haven't had time to grieve. You haven't had time to process, because the next day starts again and there's another 40 patients. So there's challenges involved, and those are a few of them when you first get into practice and beyond.
One of the interesting challenges that I've come across has been observing the struggle with some of my colleagues. Seeing some of my friends struggle, sorry. Seeing some of my friends struggle has been overwhelming at times. Not knowing that they were in that dark of a place hurts.
I had been working in a practice. I was buying in to be one of the owners of the practice, so I had a lot of responsibility to our employees. And there was one of our employees who wasn't doing well. She is a brilliant surgeon. She's really, literally one of the best I've ever worked with, but like, she had a lot going on in her personal life, and like, she was struggling. And on this Thursday afternoon, she called me in to the OR with her. There was a young dog. It had a really weird disease, and she'd actually just gone back in on a second surgery to try to figure out what was going wrong with his lungs. And the dog was dying, and she needed help. And like, I scrubbed in, and my friend and I were working like as hard and as fast as we possibly could, right? Like, every neuron in my brain was working on that dog who was dying in front of me. And I will never forget that her hands just stopped. And she looked at me and she said, "Carrie, if this dog dies, I'm gonna quit my job, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna kill myself." And I didn't know what to do. Like, I've worked in emergency medicine for dogs my whole life, but this was a person emergency. But I did my best. And supportive family and a supportive therapist, we were able to help my friend. But that's actually when I started to take care of myself, because it made it real for me. You know, like, this wasn't just like some boring compassion fatigue article I was reading in a veterinary magazine, right? Like, this is my friend, this is my life. And it made me take like a really hard look at myself and be like, oh, I'm not okay either.
I unfortunately have lost a lot of colleagues to suicide in the veterinary industry. Because it's hard. It's hard to not save an animal's life when that's all you want to do and you can't.
There's so many things that are making it very difficult to just be a good veterinarian. You know, working with individuals that maybe put very high expectations on you, the concerns about social media and online bullying, that is very hard to escape as a veterinarian. There are some individuals, they say, hey, I want to get out of veterinary medicine, but I have so much debt. I don't know what I'm going to do with my degree if I leave. I think that feeling, that sinking feeling of like there's no way out, my hope is that people become more aware of it outside of veterinary medicine so that they can recognize that, you know, that there's impact there.
I was lucky enough to work with a particular veterinarian who would spend a lot of their time while at work on these forums that were designed to help people. I didn't appreciate it at first. And then we started seeing the actual science come out on the challenges in our profession, the rate of suicide in our profession, and watching this person literally talk people out of killing themselves was one of the most amazing and most respectable things I've ever seen in my whole life.
You go into it with the intent of learning to help people and their pets. But then there's these barriers that come along the way that stop you from using your training. And the most common one in my experience is financial. So you don't know when an accident's going to happen. You put away $50 in the bank every single month religiously for your dog, and something happens in month 3. Right? You can't budget for the unexpected. So there's that inherent problem. We're talking about finances. We're not talking about the health and well-being of your pet anymore. And I hate that, because every vet, every veterinary profession, every day sees this in practice, and it hinders the care of the pets that we all love.
I work in a very high-level specialty. You know, I'm a neurosurgeon. And so, I mean, most people don't even realize my job exists. And so, like, people are like, you do dog brain surgery? I'm like, yeah, I do. And that's awesome. And it's absolutely my passion, but it's also really expensive. And it's really dangerous and really scary. And, like, I love my job, but also my job is pretty dramatic. And, like, there are a lot of people who come into my practice every day and they don't have a financial plan for their pet. They don't have realistic expectations about what I can do. I'm not God. You know, I have trained a long time and I work really hard, but I can't fix everything. And so learning to kind of deal with some of those expectations and working around, you know, the financial realities of working in medicine has been a real challenge.
Our shelters are full of dogs and cats right now because owners can't afford the vet bill. And if we just try to insure our pet and help them get the best care, not only are you saving a pet's life and you're keeping your pet, but you're also saving a life of that veterinarian nurse, that doctor, or that receptionist that is struggling.
I think really giving grace is what would be really helpful, and also to acknowledge when somebody helps you. You know, like when they bring you your pet, or they explain the diagnosis to you, or they explain how to give the medicines. I think even just that really quick, like, hey, thanks, you're doing a great job and I really appreciate you.
It's a challenge. I mean, there's highs and lows, and it is hands down the most wonderful profession in the world. But there's some challenges that need to be overcome along the way.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt and this is my dog Doug. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. A lot of what you just heard are challenges that even as a longtime dog lover myself, I was not aware of. So we would like to help amplify this conversation and encourage kindness towards our veterinary professionals. Since we have an army of dog lovers out there, we'd like to ask you all to send photos and videos of your dog's ears to #EarsToVets to show them you're listening to their medical advice and to the challenges that they're facing in their profession. We've also linked resources from our incredible partners down below in the description for anyone currently struggling or anyone looking to learn more. Thank you to all our interviewees, Not One More Vet, MightyVet, and the Multicultural Veterinary Medical Association for guiding this discussion, as well as Trupanion for being a partner willing to support us in our attempt to change this world for the better. Once again, thank you for watching, and we better see so many dog ears on social media this week.